Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Mehraei, and today we are going to solve a question about linear regression. Right. So find a linear regression model using method of least squares for the following data. So we have 4 points, and for those 4 points we are trying to find a linear regression model. To do that, as we know, the formula for simple linear regression is as follows. Y is equal to B0 or beta 0 hat plus B1 or beta 1 hat, which means that you are estimating beta 0 and beta 1, multiplied by x. So B1 multiplied by x, this is the slope of the line, and this is the y-intercept. Okay, so we are trying to find B0 and B1 because y and x are our variables. And this is the beauty of regression now. As soon as you give new values to x, then you will have values of y. So this one actually is prediction. And to be accurate, even you can put y hat over it to show that this is a prediction as well. This is an estimation, not exactly y, not exactly x. And that's why in regression, they call this one as dependent variable because it depends on the value of x, and these values of x's, they are considered to be as independent variables. In case of linear regression, we have only one x anyway. All right, so let's see how we can find B0 and B1. We have only 4 points. Usually we have lots of data, not just 4 points. So this example is just to show you how we are calculating things, and I simplified the data. But usually there are lots of them. And it's nice for you guys to practice how we can draw a scatter diagram using such points. Many of you already done it during your assignments, but for those who didn't experience about this scatter diagram, this is the time to do that. Okay, so for these points, how we can read them? This is 3, this is 5, this one corresponds to x, this one corresponds to y. So x and y, they are showing 1 point to you. And not always we represent our points like this. Maybe we show you in one big table, and for example, for x, we give you the values, for y, the same thing. But the ones which we write in front of them in one row, they are corresponding to one another. So they are points actually. So if we show you in tables, there shouldn't be no problem. So remember that practice with scatter diagram and also different representations of data they mean by points. Okay, so as soon as I understand 3, 6, 4, and 7 are my x's, so I can calculate their average easily. So xi's, x1, x2, x3, x4, as you can see, are 3, 6, 4, and 7. So you add them together and divide them by their sample size. So n is 4, not 8. Okay, be careful about it. There are pair of data, so there are points. 1, 2, 3, 4. For y, we have the same situation. They are exactly the same. Instead of giving me another value, I wrote also n here, the same. So summation of x's together dividing by n. The same for y we can do and find the average. Okay, so the mean of the samples we can easily calculate. Next thing to do after that, we need these two information. Why we need them? Because we want to find out about the slope of a line b1. Okay, so sxx, what does it mean? It means that this is the variance of your sample. Why this is a variance but there's no power 2? I explained it in the lecture number 10, that when you show them by double x's, it means that this is s power 2. If it was only 1x, it meant that this is just the standard deviation of the sample. And remember, the degree of freedom for that is n minus 1, not capital N. Capital N corresponds to your population. So n minus 1 belongs to your sample. This is the degree of freedom. So to calculate that, 1 by 1. Each data for your x, first one is 3. 3 minus the mean of x's, power 2, plus 6 minus 5, power 2. We continue until the end. You see, this is a good way so that you don't need to type everything. So this shows me the trend that you are doing. Showing trends are allowed in the exam as well. If you have 30 number of data, you don't need to show me all 30 data. You don't need to type them. Just the first two and the last one, and between them you can put 3 dots so that it will save your time. But for sure, for the exams, especially now that we have homework exam, then you should give us all the formulas like this. As I said, even once little error can decrease points, so we should be careful about them. Notations are important. Even if you show it by the s power 2 as the variance of sample, this is problematic because we are talking about regression. So for regression, we have it has its own notation. So we should be careful. Okay, so we should exactly follow as we explain here. So after we calculate it, we should be sure that this value that I will find here, because this is a variance, this one should be a positive number. If you find negative number, it means that you did some miscalculation. So next thing to do is to calculate the covariance of x and y. To do that, you see, instead of power 2 just for x, now we have y as well in this case. Now, for this one, you can see that we do exactly the same, but instead of power 2, we multiply by this part. What is this one? 5 by 1 minus y bar plus. Of course, before that, you should multiply it by this term, then plus. Okay, so 5 minus y bar multiply this term, which is xi minus x bar, as we explained before also for the variance. So we should do the same thing until then. 15 minus y bar multiply by 7 minus 5, and you get the summation of all of these terms, and at the end, don't forget again to divide it by n minus 1. So as you can see, by the way, since we are having this division here, even if you don't consider n minus 1 in this place and this one, you will find the same answer at the end, because n minus 1 divided by n minus 1, this is 1. But anyway, since we are trying to calculate everything based on these formulas, please apply this n minus 1 and don't care about the final result, which will give you the same thing. So here we should divide it for sure, also in the exam. Okay, for this one, as the covariance, if you remember, not necessarily you will receive a positive number. Maybe it will be a negative number. So we should be careful about that. Okay, so think about it. This is important, that for covariance, we could even get negative number. You already saw it for correlation, right? They had some meaning based on that. Okay, so as soon as you found out about these two values, it's very easy to find V1. So covariance divided by variance of x, then you will find 2.2 as the result of that. And by the way, something which is very important, if in the exam we ask you to give us the final answer in 2 decimal, it means that for all of the calculations, do it for 3 decimal, and at the end give us 2 decimal. Otherwise, you may have some error here when you estimate things. Okay, so when we ask you to give us the answers for this one and this one in 2 decimals, then for all of the calculations that you had before, please run them to 3 decimal points, as you can see. So 3 digits on the right side of your decimal point. When I wrote here 2.2, it means that it was 2.20. So it was a 0, I didn't consider it. Or minus 1.00, I didn't consider them. Otherwise, if we had something there, I should have written that. Okay, so for B0, how to calculate this one, you already know the formula. So mean of the sample related to y minus B1, the slope of a line that you already found, 2.2 multiplied by mean of the sample for x's. And the answer is -1. So B1 and B0, both of them could be either positive or negative. So if it is negative, it means that the trend of your line is decreasing. Okay, so when this is positive, it is increasing. And this, all the things that we know in mathematics when we talk about line, this stands also for this one as well, because that's the way we show the formula of a line as well, right? So you found B1, you found B0, just assign the numbers, and that's the final answer. So when you want to show us the final answer, please show it like this. Even if you write y hat, it's even better because it shows that you are estimating that. Okay, guys, I hope this session was useful for you, and hope to see you guys soon.